Before the sun rose high enough to warm the cracked pavement, a single father stood every morning at the same street corner, holding a paper cup of cheap coffee and a heart heavy with memories he never spoke about. He gave that coffee, a sandwich, and sometimes a few quiet words to a poor woman who sat there with tired eyes and worn clothes, never knowing that one ordinary morning would shatter his simple routine when 4 bodyguards in black suits and 2 lawyers stepped out of a luxury car and changed both of their lives forever. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and quiet good deeds that the world often ignores, please like this video, comment, share it with someone who needs hope, and subscribe to channel name, because stories like this deserve to be felt, not forgotten. He was known in the neighborhood as just another struggling single dad. His name barely mattered to most people, because people rarely look closely at men who walk with their heads down and their shoulders tight from years of carrying responsibility alone. Every morning, before heading to his construction job, he stopped by the bakery dumpster where yesterday's bread was sold cheaply, bought 1 extra roll with whatever coins he had left, and crossed the street to where the woman sat. She was always there before dawn, wrapped in a thin shawl, her hands shaking more from exhaustion than from cold. He never asked how she ended up there, and she never asked about his life. There was a silent agreement between them, a shared understanding that some pain didn't need words to be real. His own life had collapsed years earlier. His wife had died suddenly, leaving him with a small daughter and a mountain of grief he barely survived. Bills piled up, sleep became a luxury, and smiles became rare. Yet every morning, no matter how tight things became, he gave the woman breakfast. Sometimes he added a piece of fruit for her. Sometimes he just sat nearby for a minute, making sure she was alive, breathing, still there. That was all he could offer the world, and somehow, it felt like enough. The woman never begged. She accepted the food with quiet dignity, nodding gently, her eyes often filling with tears she wiped away quickly. People passed them without looking. Cars rushed by. Life continued. But in that small corner of the city, something sacred happened every morning, unseen and unrecorded. Kindness without cameras. Help without expectations. Weeks turned into months, and months into years. The man's daughter grew older, learning from her father not through lectures but through example. She sometimes asked why he helped the woman when they barely had enough themselves, and he would simply say that when you see someone hungry, and you have food, you share it. That lesson stayed with her, deeper than any bedtime story. One morning, the woman did not show up. The man waited longer than usual, pacing near the corner with worry tightening his chest. He told himself not to assume the worst, but fear has a way of slipping through logic. Just as he was about to leave, a sleek black car pulled up beside the sidewalk, so out of place it felt unreal. 4 large men stepped out first, scanning the area with sharp eyes. Then 2 men in expensive suits followed, carrying leather briefcases. The street seemed to hold its breath. The poor woman emerged from the car last, but she was not the same. Her posture was straighter, her hair neatly styled, her clothes simple but clearly expensive. Yet her eyes were unchanged. The same tired eyes, now filled with emotion. She walked toward the man, stopping a few steps away. He froze, confused, embarrassed, suddenly aware of his worn jacket and dusty boots. What he did not know was that the woman he had helped every morning was not just a homeless stranger. She was a survivor. Years earlier, she had escaped an abusive marriage to a powerful man who controlled her finances, her movements, and her identity. When she finally fled, she lost everything except her life. She hid in plain sight, afraid that any trace of her former self would lead to being found. Living on the streets was not her punishment, it was her protection. The lawyers standing behind her were the ones who had finally won her case, recovered her assets, and secured her safety. She had never told him any of this, because his kindness had never demanded explanation. He had helped her when she had nothing to offer in return. No name. No story. No promise. The lawyers approached him with formal respect, explaining who she truly was, what she had endured, and why they were there. They told him that she had spoken of him often, describing him as the only light during the darkest years of her life. She had asked them to find him once everything was settled, because gratitude like hers could not remain silent. The man listened in disbelief. He felt small, undeserving, almost embarrassed by the attention. In his mind, he had done nothing special. He had simply treated another human being like a human being. Yet now, standing before him, was proof that kindness does not disappear. It waits. It grows. And sometimes, it returns in ways we never imagine. The woman stepped forward, her hands trembling, and for the first time, she broke the quiet routine they had shared for years. Her gratitude was not loud or dramatic. It was heavy, deep, and real. She thanked him not just for the food, but for seeing her when the world chose not to. For reminding her, every morning, that she was still worthy of care. That she still mattered. She offered him help, real help. Financial support. A better home for him and his daughter. Educational opportunities. Stability. Not as charity, but as repayment of a debt she believed could never truly be repaid. At first, he resisted. Pride and humility battled inside him. But then he thought of his daughter. Her future. The nights he lay awake wondering how long he could keep surviving like this. Accepting help did not erase his dignity. It honored it. Life did not transform overnight, but it changed steadily. The man moved into a modest home where his daughter finally had her own room. He no longer skipped meals so she could eat. He no longer worked himself to the edge of collapse. The woman remained in their lives, not as a distant benefactor, but as someone who understood pain, loss, and rebuilding. Two broken lives, once strangers on a sidewalk, now connected by a bond stronger than blood. Years later, the man would still wake early. Old habits never fully disappear. Sometimes he drove past that same street corner, remembering who he once was, remembering how close he came to giving up on the world. He understood now that kindness is never wasted. Even when it feels small. Even when no one is watching. Especially then. And if this story touched your heart, if it reminded you that even the smallest good deed can echo through someone's entire life, please take a moment to like this video, share it with someone you love, and subscribe to channel name. Your support helps keep stories like this alive. Before this video ends, we have one special request for you. Please comment below with the words, "Kindness matters," if you believe that helping one person, even quietly, can change the world. Because somewhere right now, a single dad is standing on a street corner, offering what little he has, unaware that his kindness is writing a future he may never see, but one that will never forget him.